Today we'll be discussing why it seems okay out there. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, no, it doesn't. But I mean, in the overall of the media and the way the mainstream and the government and everything is being spun, that everything is okay and it's getting better and we've, conquered through the such A, B, and C. But there's a couple of really huge and very poignant factors, especially with data, that tell you the real picture and why you better be cautious and why this system is in deep trouble and why we are definitely going into a big recession. But I contend it's a lot bigger than that. I contend that the globalists have another plan. And I think this time will be coordinated with some other geopolitical or unfortunate pandemic, whether it be cyber or viral, to create the one big collapse that needs to be done. But what's very interesting here is we have an absolutely unsustainable debt level growth. Now, listen to this, and it's about spending money and what we produce when we spend $1, but we're way out of whack. Our gross domestic product, it's what we, the people, produce annually. It grew by about $182 billion. But yet the public debt grew by $834 billion. Public debt is 4.5 times the actual production. So we, the people, are going in debt 4 to 5 times more than we're producing. That is incredibly unsustainable number. And, this is something that is, now this also goes into with the government. There's an individual, then there's the government. But we're dealing with spending here in the government level, which has basically kept this alive. What's interesting to see, I'd love for people to see this because that's why I've got to get visual here from time to time. But when you see what we've produced in the fourth quarter in the GDP versus what actually happened in federal debt is pretty amazing. And so we're dealing with government debt and then we're dealing with individual debt. But the government debt was absolutely astronomical. And we're dealing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the billions. And here we're sending all this money to Ukraine. We're sending it to Israel. We're just spending in the government. They just spend like they have an unlimited credit card. And it's absolutely unsustainable. This is what is going to cause the inflation because they're going to continue to spend money. Then on the flip side, which I find very interesting, is the individual. We had, coming out of the pandemic, starting in 23, we had about $1.9 trillion in savings because we couldn't go anywhere with the lockdowns. People just saved their money. We were spending as a people, about $1.9 billion, $190 billion in savings every month through 2023. So not only is the savings out now, but the public sector is now going into debt. We, the people, are now going into debt. So you also had the government. Now the government, let's say, brought in $200 billion and they spent $900 billion. Massive debt hole. So you have all of this government spending, which isn't real production, mind you. I know there's a lot of people make the arguments, government spends, it feeds the industrial military complex, and, we talk that way. But for the most part, no, it's not, because the government is printing money out of thin air, taking that money printed out of thin air and spending it. But they're not getting anything for it. The government is spending $1 and they're going backwards $4 or $5. It's a terrible equation. This is what happens at the end of empires. So the government has been overwhelmingly spending currency they don't have because they're printing it. And then you had we, the people, through 2023 spending $1.9 trillion, $200 billion roughly a month of savings, which the savings are now gone. And it's not that our economy is booming, because we have more layoffs now than we've ever seen. In the last 12 months, there has been massive layoffs in the manufacturing sector. The headlines are now catching up. We're talking about media and tech and everywhere else. There's just layoffs all over the place. And so it's not like the economy is moving. So the government spent money that they printed and didn't have, and then we, the people, spent all of our savings. And here we are rolling into 2024. What do you think that's going to bring? This is a recipe for absolute disaster because we can't raise interest rates from here because the banking system would collapse. And I contend if they lower the interest rates, which it sounds like they're going to, even Goldman Sachs thinks they're going to lower, four basis. I don't believe that. But, let's say the government lowers interest rates. It's going to cause inflation. Regardless of the economy, there is still going to be the inflationary measure that exists. What they're telling you that inflation is a total lie. You have to go to shadowstats.com and you 1980s matrix of real inflation, and you'll see that we're still double digits. Bottom line is the currency is worthless. Our dollar doesn't buy us the same anymore. The dollar itself isn't worth anything. It's not that these individuals, now maybe some of them, but not that these individual sectors are running hot or not doing well or just inflationary and they need to just be tampered. No, it's the dollar doesn't buy you anything. Nobody even wants the dollar. Like even in Vegas, they don't even want the small limit tables anymore. It's like worthless. It's a waste of time to have 1 in 5 blackjack or $5 blackjack tables or whatever they were, having on the low end. And nobody wants the money anymore. People don't even want to work or get tipped a few dollars. They're like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't buy anything. We used to go to the grocery store, $20 would fill up a cart. Now it doesn't get us but a few items. This is real. So when they talk about inflation, what they're not telling you is the dollar has been diluted into oblivion. It can't recover. It's going to need a new system, is why we need to be extremely protective, why I'd be going to Cornerstone and getting the word out to people. I know it seems the opposite. The markets are up and everything seems fine. It's just not. It has been fake. The only reason this has happened is the government has spent hundreds of billions they don't have. They spend $4 or $5 more than every dollar that they had to spend. And then the individual person, we the people, had been basically spending savings. We are in deep trouble financially. This is going to be an ugly recession. Where will the boom come from? You see? And now comes in the issue. What do you do with the interest rates? You lower those interest rates, you're going to see gold and silver go through the roof. Wait until next week. I'm going to do a few different podcasts next week, but there's one about China and talking about how much gold they really have. Wait till you hear about all that. I mean, it's just, this whole system is corrupt. They're lying. It's rigged against you. And the truth is coming out. And we, the people, if we're not prepared, you've been told, the opportunity's been there to know it. And it's vital to know why things are happening, not what you think or see and go, oh, everything's fine. No, it's not. And here's why, ABC. These are the core facts. This is the real reason of why this is happening, which isn't a real economy, of course. It's not a productive economy. How could we have a productive economy when layoffs are through the roof? So you have to understand that this has been a smoke and mirror, but the problem is the smoke is clearing. And we're going to have to look at the ugly self real soon. So until next time, God bless each and every one of you.
With all of the recent changes in the political and financial markets, there has never been a better time than right now to invest in silver and gold. When governments simply print billions of dollars in paper money in hopes of solving financial shortfalls, you know that it is time to buy and hold assets of true and lasting value. Free information is available to you right now by calling 888-747-3309. Whether you are a new investor or you're interested in preserving the value of your retirement accounts, we make it easy for you to make smart decisions for your financial future. The specialists at Cornerstone are here to serve you, work to satisfy your retirement goals, and communicate with respect. Call us right now at 888-747-3309. That's 888-747-3309. Or visit us online at cornerstoneassetmetals.com. That's cornerstoneassetmetals.com.